In this video, we're going to be talking about Python list because for the next few weeks, we're going to be talking about the different data structures in Python. This is very important to learn because understanding the basics is the way forward to becoming better at the advanced stuff. So my name is Meshach and I'm a data scientist applying machine learning in agriculture and environmental science. So let's move on. So what are Python lists? So a list in Python is like a shopping list that you write on paper just regularly. Oh, I'm going to buy this, I'm going to buy milk, I'm going to buy bread, I'm going to buy eggs and all. So that is simply a Python list. And we're going to be exploring how do we create this list, how do we update it, how do we sort it, and how do we carry out different operations on the list. So let's create shopping lists, and we open a square bracket, for example, and within the square bracket, we're going to add the different things that we want to buy. So I'm going to say I want to buy milk. So you add whatever you want to add as a strings because you have different data types. This is a string, for example, like when you have your alphabet, but when you have your numbers, you can call them integers or float depending on what the kind of numbers are. And the interesting thing about a list is that you can store mixture of different data types within a list. So for example, this milk will be an example of a string, and you can have a value like 4 within it, and 4 is an integer, and if you say 4.7 or 4.6, that is going to be a float, for example. So those are the different like data types that you have in Python, basically at the basic level. But here we are adding just strings within our list because we're adding our shopping list. So here I am bread as another thing that I want to buy. Then I will have eggs. So maybe these three things are just okay. So, and I will run it. So we just allow this to connect to the server because we're using Google Colab, and you can just go to colab.research.google.com, and whatever code we've written here, you will find it linked in the video. Now I've created a list, and that is just how you create a list. So because a list can contain different data type, so I can store numbers in a list, and I can just say 1, 2, 3. So you can use a list in different form. So that is me storing number in a list, numbers. I can also create a list with names like what we have before. I can create a list and just go say string because names are one of the strings. So I could say John, Mary, David. Oh, I didn't add this to that. And let's say David, for example. And maybe we add Meshach, which is my name. And SHSH. So, and you can have mixed data type, like I explained in the beginning. And here we can have 1, we can have John, and John I'm going to use a string. And you can have a float within it, which is 3.5. And that's it. And you can run it. And that's a list. So if you print any of this, so if I say print numbers, for example, you're going to see everything printed out for us. So that is how you create a list. And what is interesting thing about a list is that a list contains the value and the position of that value within the list. So for example, you can see that milk is in a specific position, bread is in a specific position, and eggs, then is specific position, is in a specific position. So we're going to be talking about list position. So you have the index and you have the value. So let me just copy this to show what I mean by that. So here you will see that you have the shopping like we've copied, and we can print specific value of a list based on the index. The position is what we call the index. So for example, the index starts counting from 0 in Python. If you're using R programming, for example, you will start counting from 1 because it's not starting from 0. So here, this is going to be position 0, position 1, and position 2. So to see list position, we're going to then try to print. Let's say I want to print milk. I'll just say print, then I'll open a bracket and I'll say shopping, and I will create that same squared bracket. Then I will add 0 instead of milk. Then I'll say 0, and I can print it, and that's milk. And if I want to print, let's say I want to print bread, that is, I'm printing all this separately, I just need to add their index number. And here is going to be 1, and the next one is going to be 2. And if I do this, you see, we have milk, bread, and eggs. So when you now have a list, how can you update the list? So let's say I have this shopping list, and initially I have bread in my list, or I have bread on my list, and I don't want bread anymore. I want water. So how do I update the list? So let me just call this updating the list, updating a list. Let me just cut this tab, obtaining a list. And here is where we talk about list positioning, just for clarity. List positioning, or let me call it list position. So here, let's say I want to update the list. So now I have my shopping list normally, and this shopping list I've created it before, so I'll just copy it again. I normally I don't have to copy it, but just for clarity's sake, I'll just copy it for us to understand. Now, this is the shopping list. Now, within this shopping list, of course, I'm not manually going into the list to say, oh, I don't want bread, now I want water. So how do I then update the list? So to update the list, all I just need to do is call the list name, I call it shopping, and the index of what I want to update. Remember what we had here? The index of bread is 1. So we just need this shopping, get the index of what I want to update. I'll call it 1. And here I can just add whatever I want to repeat with it. So here I want water, for example. So then I'll print shopping again, that print the whole list. Now, if I run this, do you see now that we don't have bread in the list anymore? Now we have water on the list. Another thing is, let's say I don't want to replace, but I want to add a new item to the list. So let me call this add new item. Add new item to the list. All I just need to do is use what we call the append method. So to do the append method, I'll call the name of the list, which is shopping, and I'll just say dot append. Then whatever I want to add to the list, let's say now I want to add butter to the list. I've removed bread to replace bread with water. Now I want to append butter. I want to add butter to the list. And I'll just say shopping.append, and I'm going to say append, and that's it. So let me print. For example, let me print here. Let me say print shopping again for you to see. And now you can see that we now have milk, water, eggs, and butter. But what we notice here is that when we use append, whatever we add to the list goes to the end of the list. So if I add another thing, it will be after butter, and I add another thing, it's going to be after whatever I've just added. But what if I want to add something and I want it to come before water? For example, let's say I want to add something after milk. I want to add an item after milk. So to do that, instead of using append, I'm going to use a different kind of method. So to do that, I'll say shopping, I'll call the list, then I'll say dot insert instead of using append. But for insert, it will receive 2 parameters, the position, which is the index, and the item that I want to add to the list. So let's say I remember that, oh, instead of milk, instead of just milk, I want to also buy sugar. So to do that, I would just say the index is going to be 1. So I want to add something on index 1. So before, water happens to be the index 1, that is on position 1. But now I want whatever I want to add to be the index 1. So it's going to be milk, whatever I want to add. And in this case, it's going to be water. So I add the index where I want it to be positioned, that is 1. Then I'll pass in what I want to buy. So I want to buy water. So I will add water to it. Then I will ensure I print while you're doing that. Now you see, now we have milk, water. Oh, I added the water multiple times. Okay. I have water before, so I added the water multiple times. So that will be milk, water, eggs, butter. So that is what I have on the list. Now, another important thing to know about a list is how to sort a list. So I will say sort a list. So what if I want to change the order? I want the order to be based on the alphabet, for example, maybe from A to Z or Z to A. So maybe here now, M will come before W, that's fine. E is supposed to come before M, and B is supposed to come before E. So it's supposed to be butter, eggs, milk, water. That's how it should be. So to do that, to sort the list, we're going to be using the sort method, or it can be sorted method depending on how you want to use it. So usually, if I want to create a new list, I will say shopping, and I'll call this sorted, shopping sorted. I can call it anything. So I just want to show you that this is a sorted list. I'll just say shopping sorted equals to, I can use the sorted method. Sorted method, it's a method in Python, and then it's a list method. Then I can do this sorted and then pass in the name of the list that I want to sort. So when I do this and I print shopping sorted, and I say shopping sorted, printed here, and I have that. So here you can see now that I have butter, eggs, milk, water. But if I don't want to create a new list, but I want to sort it in place, that is, I want it to be exactly the same name, just sort the exact shopping. I'm not creating a new list while doing the sorting. So what I'm going to do to achieve that will be, instead of saying sorted equals to sorted shopping, I'm going to say shopping, and I'm just going to shopping dot sort. Instead of sorted, I'll just say shopping dot sort, and that's it. I don't need to pass anything within it. Then if I say shopping dot sort, if I print shopping, you see butter, eggs, milk, water, water. But how about if I want it to be water first? That is, I want to sort it in descending order instead of in ascending order. So to achieve that, it is still the same way. So I can still do the shipping sorted and make it in ascending order. So let me copy this in descending order. So to achieve that, within this sorted shopping, I just need to pass a new parameter to it, and that will be reverse. Then I'll say reverse, that is reverse the order, and I'll say reverse equals true. Then I will run it. So do you see now, instead of butter first is water, water, milk, eggs, eggs. If I want to achieve it using the sorting in place, instead of just shopping.sort, I'm going to do the same exact thing. I'll say shopping.sort, and I'll just pass reverse equals true, whatever we have here, and I'll pass it into it, and you can see reverse equals true. Then I can print shopping, and you see water, water, milk, eggs, butter. So now that we've seen how do we sort a list, we've seen how to create a list, we've seen how to update a list. What if I want to delete something from a list? So there are different ways that you can delete from a list. You can delete by value, you can delete based on the position, and you can delete everything in the list. You can make it become an empty list. So we're going to explore that step by step. So I'll call this, let's say, deleting from a list or removing from a list. Deleting from a list. And one, let's try the delete by value first. And I'll call this delete by value. Delete by value. Now, to do that, let's say I have water, water, water. And I have milk, I have eggs. So if I want to remove water from this list, I can say shopping. Now, if I do shopping dot remove, for example, and I say remove water, and I do water, okay, water, and I do shopping dot remove, then I'll print shopping again after removing it. Then I'll click that. Now you see it removed the first water that we have on the list. And that's it. So if I want to remove another thing, I just need to do shopping dot remove, the pass the name of the thing. If I want to remove the water again, I just need to run this once more, and it will remove the second water. But what if instead of rewriting everything again and again and again, what if I just want to remove it easily without having to write the full name? So what if what we have is a long sentence or words with more characters? So how do I do that? So to achieve that, I would delete based on the index. And how to achieve that is to say shopping. Then instead of using dot remove, I will use dot pop. Instead of using dot remove, I will say dot pop. And for dot pop is going to be based on the index. So in this case now, I want to remove the other water that we have. So here we have water, milk, eggs, butter. So here we can see that this water is on the first index. That's 0. It's on index 0. So I'll pass 0 into it. Then I'll print and say shopping. Just print shopping again. And you can see now that we don't have the water anymore. We have milk, we have eggs, and we have butter. And that is it. Now, the last thing under the delete, which is going to be the last main thing under this list operation, then it's going to be, can I delete everything in the list? So how do I do that? So let me call this delete all. And we say shopping. Just call the name of the list again. That's shopping. Then I'll just say dot clear. That's it. So if I do that, then I will say print shopping. Now it returned an empty list. So we've cleared everything that we have on the list, everything we have on the list. So this is an exercise for you. What I want you to practice, it is an agriculture related exercise. So it's called the Smart Farmer exercise. And what you need to do is very simple. So let me add it here and just a text to practice everything that I've explained right now. So I'll run this. Then it is called the Smart Farmer. So Amaka is a farmer who owns a large maize farm, and every year she records how many kilograms of maize she harvests. This year, she decides to start learning Python so she can store her harvest record digitally. So she wants to do the following: create an empty list, call it crop yield, to store her harvests, add the harvest for 3 years, the first year, second year, and the third year, then print the list to see all the harvest records. Later, she realizes that she has made a mistake. Then the second year's harvest was actually 9,500 kilogram and not 9,000 kilogram as defined. She needs to update. Then she also decides to remove the third year's record of 7,800 kg because the data was entered incorrectly. Finally, she wants to see the updated list. So you need to do this, just carry out the operation and add the code to the comment section of this video, and I'll surely respond to it. But much more, on the code that I've linked to this video, you will find the solution within the Colab notebook that I've added. So I believe you've learned something. In the following days or the following weeks, we're going to be talking about other data structures and how to do different operations within those data structures. So this is it at the foundational level, and I hope you've learned a lot. Thank you very much. Do the exercise, add it to the comment section, and remember to subscribe and like this video if you really learned something. Thank you.